What's up, bro?
What's up?
Where'd you go to eat tonight?
I went to this hibachi grill called Wild Ginger.
Dude, hibachi. I think for my first time on my 21st birthday.
Yeah, I've never had it until today.
Yeah, there's a baby. My brother's 3-month-old kid is going crazy watching the fire. He's loving it.
Yeah, he was throwing food around. We had to catch it with our mouths.
Oh yeah, they didn't do that for us.
Yeah, I don't even know what it was. It might have been tofu.
Dude, honestly, I've had some bang bang tofu. It's not the worst thing in the world.
What do you mean bang bang?
It's bang bang sauce. They had that shit in Georgia.
What is that?
It's just a sauce, and they put in tofu and throw in rice, and it was one of the better things they had.
In Georgia?
Yeah.
Is it like yum yum sauce?
It's spicier though.
Yeah, I had lobster and steak.
Yeah, watching them cook it, they're masters, dude.
I know, they must do that shit every day.
He had all the vegetables on it, and then he cooked each piece of meat how he wanted. Dude, it was so hot in the middle. He cooked the thing of steak in 30 seconds.
I don't those dudes had to have training. How do you even become a hibachi chef? Do you have to go to a school?
I think it's probably an apprenticeship thing.
Yeah.
You gotta learn from somebody. I think they're just all pretty fucking crazy though. My brother was telling me, because they squirt the sake too.
Yeah. What is sake?
Oh, I had some of that shit. It's rice wine.
Oh, is it?
You can get it hot or cold, but I prefer cold was better, I think. Yeah, he's telling me about this crazy ass hibachi chef. He's like, drink the sake.
That water you hear is a koi pond we're currently sitting in front of.
It's so relaxing. Hope I get to see some fish though. There's a goldfish in there.
Just one goldfish.
But yeah, we just both turned 21 in May.
Yeah, we did.
Dude, that's crazy. Finally get to drink legally now. Going to Dayton, man. I think we were ranked top 5 party school, so it was every weekend, whether we're in season, out of season, 3 days a week, I'd say average, going out and not sleeping. Yeah, it was kind of just a cycle.
Yeah, because you live for the weekend. That's just a shitty way to live, in my opinion, because then subconsciously you're not excited to take on the day if it's a weekday. You're only excited to get up if it's a Friday or a Saturday night. I think you're wasting productivity if you don't treat every day like something huge is going to happen. I mean, every day, you're chasing the bag, man. You want to better yourself, you need to be doing something every day that's going to be pushing you forward, because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And that's in football, but that's in anything in life. You always got to be pushing the envelope.
We talked about sacrifices, and that's one that I had to take was drinking less. I researched the hell out of it, even finding biased articles talking about how it could be good for muscle growth, and binge drinking is really horrible for an athlete. Probably one of the worst things you can do to your body.
Dude, drinking in general, if you have one glass of wine with dinner, I'm not saying that's an issue. In small doses, it's just not going to affect you the same way that taking a lot will. But people don't just go out to have one drink. If you're going out, you're drinking.
And I feel the same way. It'd take me so much to get drunk, because part of alcohol tolerance is when you're drinking for a while and you do the same cycle, it becomes way harder. So that's a mix with body weight and depending on how much you drink, and if it follows the same cycle, you're drinking every weekend, it's going to take a lot more to get you drunk and result in a hangover the next day.
And like
Sucks.
each drink, even a shot, is like 100 calories, 150 calories. And so you just throw those back without even thinking about it. You've ingested an extra 500, 600, 700 calories.
Yeah, every night I go out, I'd say I'd drink my dinner, and then sometimes I would get hungry getting back, but how many times are you going to eat healthy after a night out? It's 2 a.m.
Never.
What even can you eat that's healthy?
Nothing, dude. Like, unless you have meal prepped or something, you have nothing to eat. No healthy options. It's pizza, it's McDonald's, it's bullshit food. It's not even, that stuff isn't even food.
And when you're in a college dorm room, you don't have a fridge.
Exactly.
How are you going to have your own food ready?
Yeah, like if you can't cook, or even if like you live in a house or something with a bunch of people, like it's hard to cook in the kitchen with 4 people living there, all trying to do their own shit. So it's going to be way easier to just go out and get fast food. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of time to maintain a healthy diet. A lot of the food that you see at the grocery store is not food.
It's not. It's all processed.
It's all processed. Cereals, breads, everything. Almost everything you see in the supermarket is processed.
Anything you see that is cheaper than the real brand, or the brand that's organic or not processed, that is known to be not processed, the reason it's cheaper is because they use ingredients like
Of lower quality.
trans fats that fuck up your cholesterol, they fuck up your heart.
Yes.
It's horrible for you, and that's why it's cheaper. But the FDA let companies get away with it. They don't do anything about it.
Well, it's because people keep buying it. I mean, there are healthy options. Like you have to search for them, but they are there. But nobody buys them.
I feel like people know what they should be eating though, because when somebody wants to lose weight, what do they eat? They eat salads. They don't eat fast food. They don't eat shit. They don't eat pizza. They eat like green stuff. They eat stuff that they know is not full of horrible fats and sugar. Sugar is another thing that people don't take into consideration in their daily diet, and that's number one reason that heart disease is the number one leading cause of death.
Yeah. Well, and sugar is super addictive. I'd say sugar is more addicting than like nicotine or like caffeine or another addictive chemical.
It is, dude. It like totally changes so many things. It just tastes way better. I don't know. It's just hard to not eat it once you get addicted to it, I feel like. And some people don't even realize they're addicted to sugar.
I know. Well, the other tricky thing that companies do is like they'll put sugar in stuff that sugar should not be in.
It's in everything, man.
Everything. I notice when I eat clean, meaning I eat whole or very lightly processed foods, I have way less inflammation. I'm like clear-headed. I have a sustained energy. If I'm eating a bunch of carbs or sugars, I'll notice my energy will spike for like 30 minutes and then drop. But like you just eat whole foods, your energy is going to be sustained throughout the entire day. You're not going to get that like 2 o'clock, 3:30 drag.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of talk about keto, the carnivore diet, Joe Rogan trying it out, just doing meat and very little carbs. I'm not 100% a true believer in keto. I still do think carbs are important for muscle building and recovery, but there are 2 types of carbs. There's the ones that you eat and yeah, they will give you a short burst of energy. Those are known as fast carbs. And then the slower digesting carbs will give you energy throughout the day. They will recover broken muscle tissues. So I think it is important to have a well-balanced diet, having fat, protein, and carbohydrates.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at food as like a pleasure almost.
Sure.
Or an art. even, and I'm not saying it isn't, like, good food is good food. You go to a nice restaurant, they usually have better food than your average, like, Texas Roadhouse. It's just a better dining experience. But at the same time, like, at the end of the day, what really is food? It's fuel. Like, you eat to fuel your body. You eat to live. So when you choose to put, and sometimes it's not even a choice. It's like subconscious. I know I'm a stress eater. And so whenever I get stressed or depressed or any type of adverse emotion, I tend to turn to food. Or at least I did until I kind of had a self-realization that I do that. And I, like, a lot of the times I'm not actually hungry. I'm not actually craving, like, an unhealthy meal. Like, I just want to, like, feel. Because when you eat good food, it releases endorphins and you want to feel better.
Sure.
And so, like, that's why a lot of people use food as, like, a crutch.
I think there are some foods that are healthy that I really love eating. Like fruits, I love to eat. Proteins, I love to eat. And protein's the most satiating food. So for me, if I'm eating enough protein, even if I'm not reaching my calorie goal for that day, I'm not going to get a lot of cravings to eat something that I know is going to ruin my day of eating.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, if you go a certain amount of time without eating a lot of carbs or processed foods, and then you start eating one again, like, you're gonna want all the carbs. It's like, once you start eating it again, your body instantly craves it.
And you'll put on weight too. And
yeah.
Like, maybe you start drinking again, maybe you just fall into bad habits. But you just have to have, and we talk about sacrifice, you have that discipline of planning your diets, of tracking what you're eating, of knowing what nutritional facts on food is and what things to look out for, what things you need in your body and what goals. And strength coaches will help you out with this, but you have to take some initiative and get with them.
Yeah. But even for, like, somebody who isn't an athlete, right? And you don't have, like, access to coaches or personal trainers, there's so much information available to you on the internet or on YouTube. You're not ever going to out-train a bad diet. You're not ever going to take a supplement that's going to fix all your problems. There is no shortcut. That's true for anything in life. There's no shortcut to anything. Some people get lucky, and that's just what it is. There's this thing called luck in life where people have better cards dealt to them. But, like, you can't do anything about that. There's no shortcut to reaching your goals.
And everybody will tell you the same thing. Like, talent can only take you so far. At a certain point, you're going to catch up with competition, and it's going to level out. And getting that edge is going to come down to your training, your recovery, your sleep, your diet. That shit matters.
I mean, yeah. Like, when you get, especially at the college level, everybody is so similar talent-wise that it could be the difference of getting an extra hour of sleep that, like, puts you over the top, that makes you play and the other person not. Like, that could be it. The margin of error is like 1%, maybe even less than that at this level. Like, everybody has talent, or they wouldn't be there. So, like, what are you willing to do extra? And it doesn't have to be some massive thing. It's all little things that aren't really that big of a deal when you look at them, like, one at a time. And, like, you just keep stacking those, and that's what's going to put you over the edge.
Yeah, as an athlete, your body is what you use, and you have to know how to use it, what each muscles are, when they're hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen to your body.
You have to know how to take care of your body. You have to research this stuff. So if you don't know anything about exercising, if you don't know anything about training or different types of injuries, shit like that, you just have to start putting in a bit more time if you want to be serious with it. It's like the same thing as football. You want to know your position. You want to study what it's like to perfect that position in order to be the best player possible.
I recently visited San Diego, it was almost like you were peer pressured to eat right and like be fit and like work out because everybody was. And like fast food isn't as available out there. Like it's not around every corner like it is here. So like if you are just like a lazy fat piece of shit out there, you're going to be like stand out.
Yeah, like health is huge. Not just being in good shape, but California is the number one earner in the U.S. and states. They have the most people, but by a mile, they have the most productive workers. They have a lot of people who are highly driven, and it's because they take care of their health. And granted, they have the resources to do that, but as long as you put in effort, put in time, you are going to see improvements. And if you stick with it, huge changes can come, trust me.
I think that's what discourages a lot of people is like visually they don't look any different. And so that is like, well, why am I doing all this work? Well, to other people you do. Like you might not be able to tell the difference because you see yourself every day, but like to other people, yeah, you look different.
You know what it's like going into Moeller as an 8th grader, starting lifting. We changed our bodies so much getting on a football strength program. If you stick to it for more than a month, if you stick with it for 3, 6, even longer, then you are going to see your body fat drop. If you are doing the right things, if you're eating right, if you're doing cardio, there's no way your body composition doesn't change over time.
It's like all about your genetics, how fast your metabolism is. Like there's so many different variables that you can't just say, oh, all of it's not working. Because that's not true. It could literally be one thing that's not working. And you just take that out and everything else is fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, at some point, like it's a choice to be unhealthy. Like I understand, like I've suffered with depression and like gone through a lot of things in my life. And I know now that I use food as a crutch, basically as a drug. Some people will use other drugs of choice to deal with their problems, but I used food. And I came to this realization that I was doing that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to let, my emotions take over my life.
Yeah, it's like, I think you have to have that self-control. There are a lot of things that can cause someone to be overweight. If you have body dysmorphia, you might think that you're unable to work out. You have issues that hold you back, and you'll never be able to look like other people, and it's just going to discourage you to even try. Or you might have anxiety in the gym, and you might feel like people are looking at you, and that's going to do the same thing. It's going to discourage you to stick with it. But if you can recognize that and have faith in your reasons for wanting to get fit, knowing that it's a good thing to want to be healthy and believing in that, then other people aren't going to have an effect on you.
Yeah. I think it's self-control and self-awareness. It's really hard to have self-awareness on your own. A coach will sometimes tell you the truth, and it will be like what's actually going on, but like in your head, you might think something different or have a different perception of yourself. But like from an outsider, he's just telling you the truth. And it's up to you to accept that and like swallow your pride, be humble and say, okay, maybe I need to work on this. If you take it as kind of like a disrespect, like that should only motivate you. It shouldn't discourage you. I respect just people being honest with you. I don't want to be bullshitted. I want to know exactly what other people see to see how well it aligns with what I see.
Yeah, and you see that same thing with non-athletes, people who are at risk, people who are obese. The doctors will tell them, like, you could have serious health problems, cardiovascular disease, and still they won't listen. They think they know better than a professional who has had schooling for 8+ years and has seen hundreds of thousands of patients. They still believe they know better. It just doesn't make sense. They don't think logically. It's all emotional.
Yeah, it's not logic at all. There's going to be thoughts in your head that are negative. So recognize that you're starting to have a negative thought, and then just don't complete the thought. Replace it with a positive thought.
Right.
Like, it's just a shift in how you are thinking, and really, that little difference can make all the difference.
Yeah, for sure. I think some people are so unaware of when they're being negative, though, and people are too hard on themselves, and it just doesn't give them any room to be positive, to make good changes in their life, and to see their life progress forward. I think it starts one thing at a time. Like, if you just look at your life, well, look around, look at your room. Is it a fucking mess? Then that's probably gonna say things about your own life. If you can't take care of simple things, if you can't get in a routine, if you can't eat food and sleep on a good schedule, then other things aren't even a worry. You shouldn't care about other things, and you need to realize that what you put your effort into needs to be the most important thing right then and there.
At Indiana, our strength coach, he used to be the strength coach for the New York Giants. And so one morning, he's telling us about how, like, the war room, like, you know, the scouts and everybody would come in and they talk about certain players. They had this section on the whiteboard and it said SFG. And he's like, you know what that stands for? He said, same fucking guy. If a dude was always being late to class or had a shitty GPA or always showing up late to meetings or just on bullshit, they put that player in that category. He's the same fucking guy, because you're the same fucking guy all the time. You had to give 100% in everything or it's not going to work.
Taking simple steps like relationships, or your relationships in your life, are they working? Are they healthy? Just between your family members, like, if you're always in a negative state, then that's going to carry over to school, to athletics. You want to build positive momentum throughout the day to where your whole day is filled with things that you like.
I think the easiest thing to do that is just to make your bed every day. You know, that's an easy thing to do in the morning. And it's like, okay, like, I accomplished one thing that I didn't really want to do. Like, who wants to make their bed? Like, they're tired in the morning. They just want to go. They don't want to spend the extra 30 seconds to, you know, make their bed. But, like, when you do that, you're like, okay, I accomplished something I didn't want to do. I'm on a good roll.
Yeah, I think, or just hopping in the shower, like, refreshes you. You'd feel like you're healthy right as soon as the day started. That's a good task completed. It's just good to not be doing things that you know are hurtful during the day, because you're gonna make excuses for why you're doing it, and then you're gonna continue that negative behavior, doing things that are bringing you instant gratification and pushing you away from your long-term goals. That's gonna give you true happiness.
I also notice when I sleep in, all of our training and practices are in the morning. So I'm used to getting up at 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock. So when I sleep in past like 10, I just don't feel like, I feel like I wasted time. I don't feel good when I wake up. When I wake up early and I know I don't want to wake up, I want to stay in bed, but no, I'm going to get up anyway and attack the day. I feel like I could take on the world, you know?
I've been dealing with depression for, I'd say, the last year or so. I started taking medicine, and it's been helping a lot, but due to moving around a lot and making a lot of adjustments in my life, transferring twice within 1 year, there was an element of that, and I'd say that was so true. Like, waking up later in the day and feeling like you haven't done anything that day and you're not going anywhere, and just being hard on yourself is an easy way to just completely push yourself in the wrong direction and have multiple negative days. So I think it's important to also be good to yourself and encourage yourself, but also, yeah, staying on a good, consistent routine, because it is important to do that. You can't just be all over the place every single week and have no schedule, because it's going to be hard to do the things that, like working or working out, going to school.
A lot of people say that money brings you happiness. I think organization brings you happiness. If you have a very organized life, you're not going to have stress. And if you don't have stress, you're going to be, for the most part, happy. I mean, obviously, there's depression, and a lot of people can't help it. But if you organize your life, take care of everything that, let's say, oh, the dishes are sitting in the sink, and you've been procrastinating for a couple days, just do them. Get them done. And take care of the little things every day. They're going to stack, and your life overall is going to become more organized. You're going to fall into a routine. I don't know. I just feel like you're much happier or in a much better mental state than if your life is in shambles.
Yeah, I think it's good to get positive habits going, and if you get habits of taking care of your house, taking care of things that you use that might be dirty, then once you start cleaning, to finish the job. That's another thing I think that's important, because so many times you'll see people start something that is difficult, and they know it's difficult when they start to do it, but there are reasons greater than the choice of not doing it. So that's why they want to do it. But once they start, it becomes too hard and they quit.
I recently got to David Goggins. I read his book, and he has this 40% concept where, like, your mind will tell you you've given everything you got when you've only given 40% of what you got. And so to be able to unlock that extra 60% is like a superpower that not many people have the willpower, or I don't even know what it is. I really don't know what it is, that the difference between what makes somebody quit or somebody persevere.
I think it's like it's got to be something with the fight or flight mechanism, because like I used to do it last summer. I would do like multiple compound lifts in one workout, and then I'd have to finish another 40 minutes of cardio, and then 40 minutes of working out, and then cardio. And at some point you just hit it where you're like, okay, this is way more than I'm used to. And if you keep pushing it, you almost get like a
high.
Yeah,
you get like a runner's high.
Yeah.
I've experienced that multiple times, where there's this feeling you get this rush of adrenaline all of a sudden, and you feel like you can go forever. It's hard to explain, like, that switch, and I don't really know what makes that switch or how you can unlock that. Maybe it's just repetition, like anything in life.
I think doing that stuff is so easy. It's not hard to get on a treadmill. It's not hard to make your bed. And people do way harder things with their life. Maybe you're very good at your job, but you're good at nothing else. If you can put that same effort into other things, it's going to carry over into that as well.
Yeah, like when you take a look at your life, we have a pretty easy life. We both live in America. We both are student athletes. You know, we have the size. We're strong. We're tall, you know, good looking dudes. We got it pretty good. And so you just got to put things in perspective. You know, everybody has problems. Life is suffering. That's what it is. You're born to die. It's just, how are you going to deal with that? And a big part of that is just perspective.
I think I've been reading this book about prosperous thinking, and it talks about how fear of success is even bigger determinant of holding people back than fear of failure, because they almost feel guilty for doing things that they were put on earth to do, that God wanted them to do. He wanted you to fill out your own story and live your life to the fullest each and every day.
Well, the thing about success is, I mean, I think success almost has a negative connotation now because, well, a lot of people who are successful, they got there because they don't care about stepping on other people to get there. But let's say you do have an opportunity to get there. I mean, you could change other people's lives. I mean, money is a tool. Success can be very beneficial and you can help out a lot of people.
It's like, why wouldn't you want your children to be well off? Like, that should
Exactly.
be the number one thing that you're working for, is your kids to have a good life.
Like, you are trying to change your family tree.
Yeah, and if that's not, if you don't have a big family, then yeah, you can be selfish. If you don't want to have kids, I want to have a good life. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to want to experience all there is to offer and do all there is to do.
And it's not selfish, really. Like, when you think about it, like, it's not selfish to want success for yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody has the opportunity to do that.
I think you make a lot of money. You're a business owner. You have a lot of employees. You're also having a positive impact on your employees because they make money to feed their families, put their kids in a good position, just like you are.
I know we're talking about money, but I mean, really, in today's world, success equals money. It is what it is.
And health is wealth too. Like, money is a resource to take care of yourself and your children. If one of your kids gets sick, if there's a huge hospital bill, if there's like an accident, you want to have that security, that financial freedom to not go in the hole and be stressing or selling your stuff to pay for things that should have been taken care of. But because you wanted to be humble, you didn't take those opportunities to put yourself in a good position.
I mean, it comes down to what are really the important things in life. Figure out what the top 3 most important things are in your life and give a fuck about those and not give a fuck about anything else. Because that's the only way you're just going to let it rip and follow your dream. It doesn't matter what your parents say. It doesn't matter what other friends say. It doesn't matter because it's your life. You shouldn't give a fuck about anything else except those top 3 things.
Yeah, that's so true. And I was talking to this counselor at my college just about my anxiety around football, because that's a huge motivator for me, and just my life goals in general we were talking about. And I had this list of 10 things that I wanted to accomplish this year, and they're all huge goals that, realistically probably weren't going to happen. And this is usually how I do my goals, but he recommended just to focus on 3 things, just like Zach said, and just do actions to get closer to those every single day and be good to yourself. Like, if it's a hard goal that is going to challenge you, if you are making improvements, reward yourself.